Thank you, everyone, for joining us at the 2021 Next Steps for Your Future webinar series. Today, I would like to present Sheldon. Sheldon is from Kapi'olani Community College. Sheldon, welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. And I guess for those who are watching the playback, good afternoon, good evening as well. Thank you for the opportunity for having me at this webinar. Happy to share what types of resources first-time students or first-year students can expect at Kapi'olani Community College. If I could, let's see now. There we go. In the room, I know you folks have access to the chat because I really want to know where you folks are from. I want to know a little bit about you all. And so if you could, in the chat, if you could type in your name, maybe 3 things. If you could type in your name, first name is fine, the school you attended, and your favorite subject. So if you could type that in the chat, again, your name, just first name, the school you attended, and your favorite subject. And no shame. I mean, if math was your favorite, put that down. If art was your favorite, put that down. If you were to ask this question to one of my kids, he will throw in lunch as his favorite. And it's like, oh, okay, whatever. Or you can even throw in PE. I know that would be another one of his favorites. But if you could, again, your name, high school you attended, favorite subject. If you could throw that in the chat, that would be fabulous. Because this will help me. Actually, it would help me with my presentation. So again, your first name, high school you attended, favorite subject. I might want to jump into that too. So I'll put my first name. And I actually graduated from Roosevelt High School. And at that time, which was many moons ago, my favorite subject was actually art. I loved it. So if you could share, that would be great. So as folks are checking in, again, what I'm asking folks in the chat is if you could put in your first name, high school you attended, and your favorite subject. Hey, we got a Roosevelt person in there, right on. Is senior patio still a thing? I know it was a thing back then. Like we could not go into senior patio, which actually was a very low ceiling, hot place to go to anyway. But anyway. Okay, anyone else looking for first name, high school attended, favorite subject? If you could throw that into the chat, that would be great. Oh, science. Okay. We get math, we got science. This is great. JC. Art history, right on. Okay, let's keep throwing stuff in the chat. And actually my presentation is fairly pretty flexible. So as I go through the slides, if there's questions that come up, don't hesitate. Throw it in the chat. I'll be more than happy to respond to them. If you look at my intro slide, that does have contact information that you're more than welcome to write down, but let me throw in my personal email address as well. And so Kapi'olani Community College, as you can see in this bird's eye view, those are 3 ways you can get a hold of us: through our website, email address, and through our Instagram account. There's just a lot of valuable information out there, especially for our Instagram account. What that provides is an inside look on all the neat things that happen on our campus. And we like to highlight our various programs, student activities, just everything. And so if you're kind of wondering what our campus is like, our IG page is actually really good. And so when you talk about first year resources, checking out that page is really helpful to kind of take the mystery out of attending Kapi'olani Community College. And again, that is and I hate to say this, I'm totally biased because I was a former student of KCC a long time ago. it's just the best place. It's beautiful. And I'll actually dive into that in a little bit. What you all need to remember is that Kapi'olani is a part of a larger UH family. And so if you look at the map, Kapi'olani Community College is one of many colleges under the umbrella of the University of Hawaii. And so this is important to remember. And another thing to remember too, for those who are, let's say, and I was working with a student actually this morning, initially wanted to start at Kapi'olani, but wants to take classes at Leeward as well. And so the question was, do I submit another application? The answer is no. What you want to remember is the community colleges is like one big university with many different sites. And so we've got students who are enrolled at Kapi'olani and taking courses at Leeward, which is totally fine. And then vice versa. In fact, many years ago, I had a student who was taking classes at 4 community colleges in one semester. Totally fine. The thing to perhaps remember is if you're going to go, say, to a in-person, face-to-face class, then commute has to be factored in. And so for some of our students who are, say, living in Eva Beach but want to take a class at Kapi'olani, they could do it online. But if there's students who want to do in person when that time comes, I'm thinking spring 2022, we just encourage them to think about time management, think about the traffic, think about all that kind of stuff, and factoring in and coming into an in-person class if you're attending multiple campuses. And so again, best to get familiar with this map. We are located, let me go back to the previous screen. We are located right across Diamond Head, otherwise known as Leahi. And so just know that for those who may not know where we're physically located, if you've hiked Diamond Head more times than any, you've driven past Kapi'olani. And so that is where we're located. What I wanted to show in this video, in there you see Erica Diaz. She's one of our librarians. And what I wanted to highlight is a team of folks that you're going to be entering in. So a lot of in fact, I would say all of our employees have a special connection to this campus. When we do hire folks, we try to hire based on values, people's belief systems, their value system. What Erica was sharing in this video, and I wish I could have shared it with you, is she's actually a graduate of University of Washington. She then got her master's degree at UH in actually library studies, and she's in charge of our Native Hawaiian Pacific Islander collections. She helps manage the entire library, but that's one of her specialties. And she just talked about how special working at Kapi'olani Community College is. And the picture that you see behind Erica is the shot of our library. And what's really cool about that library is, and goes back to our first year resources, is our tutors. When we go back to face-to-face, what you're going to see is free tutoring support for math, all levels from pre-algebra all the way up to calculus 4. Writing tutors, language tutors, science tutors, all free. Students can use them multiple times throughout the year. I once worked with this gentleman who really needed help in math, and he went to our tutorial support. Gosh, it must have been for like 2 weeks straight. He must have gone like every day for like a couple of hours. Totally fine. For those in the room, if you guys are strong in, say, math, science, or any kind of subject, you too could perhaps be hired as a tutor. And so just wanted to throw it out there. Going back to values. And so everyone from our groundskeepers to our instructors, counseling, administrators, we have in our duties, we're anchored in these values that you see on the screen. When we go through interviews, when we go through projects, we want to make sure that we're moving forward with meaning, with value. And so the one I want to focus on is ku loa'a, because we want to make sure that our students are in a great learning environment, that they're supported, that they are getting a really good comprehensive learning experience. Academics is a solid thing, but we want to make sure that students feel like this is a place for them. We want to make sure that they're in a place where we also are aligned with their values as well. So just know that everyone on our campus really believes in the campus, really believes in our students, really believe in making sure that the learning experience is of high value. And what we do is we offer a lot of opportunities for students to push their boundaries. I want to take another stab at this. And so in the chat, if you could share what degree you might be interested in. And so it doesn't, you can say, I don't know, you can say whatever, but in the chat, if you could type in what degree you are interested in at the moment, they'll give it like a few seconds. So again, in the chat, if you could type in what degree you are interested in pursuing, I'll give you guys a few seconds or so, and no shame. I don't know is an acceptable answer as well. So in the chat, if you could throw in what degree you're interested in pursuing. And I have no idea is a great answer. You could throw that in there. Nursing, got it, okay. That's one. I got an interesting story about that. Anyone else? Anyone can throw in the chat a degree, or maybe I would go even as far as what career you folks might be or are kind of thinking about. Hospitality, all right. So we got nursing, we got hospitality. Anyone else willing to share? Anyone else? Nursing, hospitality? Well, on the slide that you see, so pushing your boundaries, what we like to do with our students is have them explore. I think by attending Kapi'olani, you guys are in an excellent place to really see what else is out there. The reason why when I saw nursing, I want to share a story with you all. We have a student, his name was Raymart, and this was like years ago. When he came to Kapi'olani, he originally wanted to go into Culinary Arts. And through several classes, his heart just wasn't there. Maybe the values weren't aligned. So then he thought, oh, well, I guess the next best idea was to try hospitality. So he tried hospitality, and that too, he tried it out, and maybe there wasn't a connection there. And so then he paused and became a liberal arts student just to kind of test his boundaries, kind of trying to figure out what's out there. Luckily, he had a friend who said, hey, why not try a nurse aid class? So he thought, well, okay, I'm kind of in this exploratory mode right now. I've tried culinary, I've tried hospitality. I even went the general route in liberal arts. Why not? So he tried a nurse aid, which is one of our short-term certificate programs, and he fell in love with it. From there, from nurse aid, he went into our LPN program, fell in love with that, graduated with a bachelor's in nursing. And long story short, he is now receiving his PhD in nursing. There's many elements to this story, but I think what I wanted to use that as is, again, pushing your boundaries. What he did was he just explored what was beyond his comfort zone. He explored what was maybe not in his horizon and what ended up being a lifelong career that he just fell in love with. And so those are the things we provide students. It could be in a form of short-term certificates. It could be workshops. Like you see what Kara's doing. She is doing a presentation for one of our STEM workshops. So it could be stuff like that. We've sent out folks into the community. We've done, so for some of our paralegal students, they would maybe shadow an attorney. So there's a lot of things that allow students to push their boundaries. Other things you guys can get involved with is what you see on the screen there. And so a lot of what I was sharing is just kind of, again, pushing your boundaries, getting yourself out there. What you want to know is at the community colleges, what maybe folks may not know is we have a lot of resources that are similar to what people think are offered at the larger institutions or large universities. We do have research opportunities. We do have student clubs. We have several publications Some are paid positions as well. As you see, the community service. Some of our classes have what we call this sustainability designation. So what does that mean? It puts students in these arenas where they will talk about climate change, maybe in the lens of economics. They may sign up for English 100, and maybe the topics will be around climate change. And so, and with that, we will be sending students out into areas where they can maybe get their hands dirty, maybe even literally in the areas of climate change. We talk about leadership. We have students who are, I don't know if any of you are in or were in student government. You have opportunities to join our student congress. You have opportunities to just be leaders in other kind of student arenas. And so there's just a lot of growth opportunities at Kapi'olani. Just got to look for it, and it is out there. Going back to the research part, just wanted to share, because I know someone mentioned science. We have one chemistry instructor who has ongoing chemistry research projects, and she's always looking for research assistants. So if she sees that you are passionate about science or express the interest, she might just take you under her wings. The gentleman you see there with the glasses, so that's Dr. John. And so every summer, he actually goes to Africa to enhance his learning around microbiology, and he brings that knowledge back to campus. His stories are amazing. And so, and he'll be your teacher if you decide to take microbiology. And so again, lots of opportunities when you come to our campus. I think I skipped way too far ahead. What I wanted to show in this particular video is a sample of our medical lab assistant labs. And so what you see here is similar to a lot of our programs where they come to campus in full uniform and they're working in teams. This is to get students familiar with what the workforce is going to look like. And so you'll see commonly folks like this, our medical assisting students in full uniform, our nursing students in full uniform, and so on and so forth. And I'll show you another example in a few slides down. And this, to me, is like a, I don't know if I'm saying this right, like a badge of honor. Like they walk around in their uniform with pride because they've entered a program amongst like-minded folks. And what you see here, which is kind of neat actually, is these are students in the height of COVID. What we did was we made sure that students are practicing as best as you can safe CDC guidelines. And so they're working in teams, fully masked, washing hands, everything. So again, even though there were some limitations in offering classes, we did our very best to make sure students were still getting a great learning experience. This is another example of students in our Culinary Arts program. And so here they are in full uniform, as you can see with William on the far right, the name embroidered on his uniform. So that's another really cool thing. And so we want to make sure that when students are entering this education arena, that there's a certain pride. We want to make sure that they're standing proud and feeling great about what they are enrolled in. What you see here is a group of students who are actually in a class that's being taught in our lunch truck. And so on your far left is one of our chefs, Chef Peel. And so he, again, takes the learning outside the classroom. And as you can see here, again, once things go back to in person, our lunch truck will come back. And then you'll see students learning how to not only make the meals, but manage it as well. And so again, lots of opportunities to really, going back to that whole pushing your boundaries, but also getting a taste of what the workforce is going to look like. Here is our wonderful research assistant, and we have a lot of neat employees. But the really cool thing about Brandon is he's a graduate of USC. He got his law degree, and I believe he's trying to get a higher degree above his JD, which is amazing. But this is the kind of folks you can expect on our campus. It's just these very talented folks wanting to make sure students have a successful college opportunity. And so Brandon also in this video, he talks about our study abroad opportunities. So when we go back to normal, we do have opportunities for students to study in Asia. So when that becomes available, it'd be great if you guys could all jump on that, because students have come back a changed student. Like they thought they were going to go this one path, but studying abroad just broadened their horizons, and just education just took on this whole new energy, and they're just on to doing amazing things that again, that's connected to their values. Folks, the things you can expect when you are a student at Kapi'olani is just a lot of support. We have everything from academic advising, personal counseling. So we have a social worker on staff. And so if you're going through perhaps something that's very heavy, we have mental health professionals on board. If you're still trying to figure out that career path or trying to figure out that major, we have counselors who specialize in career exploration. And like I mentioned, we have tutoring available, both actually we have it on now, but when things go back to normal, we will have it both in person and online. You just want to remember that you as students are surrounded by just people who are ready and willing to support you on your academic journey. We had this one where it took the student 9 years to complete their journey, and they stuck with that student for the whole 9 years. And so just know that we are here for you. There's just a ton of resources out there. But you have to let us know. So let me type this in again. Communication is very important. We are not mind readers. And so if something is swimming in your mind and you want to talk it out, just reach out. Communication is key. You want to let us know maybe ideas that you may have, or maybe the struggles you're going through, challenges that you're facing, or if you just want to share a really wonderful story. Side note, there's a student who right now her plan is to become a psychologist. And what we did is we kind of file these things in our head, and as opportunities come up, we try to bridge them to maybe a research opportunity or a job opportunity. And so in one scenario, I'm trying to bridge a student into a tutoring program with youth, and that's mainly because she shared that she's interested in becoming a helping professional. And so there's a lot of us who bank this in our mind, and then when we see opportunities, we try to bridge those opportunities to students. And the only way we know that is when students speak up or share whatever's on their mind. So what you want to know is that, again, we want to make sure you are striving for your highest potential. Sorry to sound super sappy, but our campus meets every Wednesday. And the underlying theme every time when we meet is making sure that we have all the tools, us as employees, that we have all the tools to make sure that we can then help you as students achieve whatever that you want to achieve for yourself. We want to make sure you are striving for your highest. We want to make sure that you're taking on challenges that you never thought you'd take on before. Make sure that if you try something and you fail, that we're there with you, because failing forward is a great thing. You never know until you try. And so we want folks to give something a shot, and then just maybe work through the kinks, work through the challenges, and then kind of go from there. It's nice to play it safe. I totally get it. But in order to push your limits, you just want to test your boundaries. So again, if you have any questions, you have my email address. It's in the chat. On there are, again, resources to get more information about Kapi'olani. We just have a lot to offer, and we are around throughout the whole summer. And so if questions come up, if ideas come up, if concerns come up, you have the email address on the screen. You have my email address in the chat. Please do not hesitate to reach out. This final slide, I'm going to try to send it later, maybe put it in our bank over here. It's a drone view of our campus. It's really beautiful. And what's really neat about this particular video, as the drone was flying, these birds are flying next to it, as if I guess they thought it was a buddy of theirs. But anyway, it gives you a kind of neat 360 view of our campus, and it's a wonderful place. We love it. We have many programs, as you can see on our website, but it's a lot to take in. Just know that KCC is a wonderful place to explore. Many times students have ideas going in, but because of their exposure to different teachers, different opportunities, different experiences, their goals not so much changes, but it gets enhanced. And what they thought was going down to this one avenue, they may just pursue another one. But again, now is the time to explore. And if you're going into college a little bit worried that you may not have a goal in mind, that's totally fine. I would have to say, and this is just a random number, I would say like 8 out of 10 students may not know what they're pursuing. They may say they know, but I think deep down, it's just they're saying it because it's comforting to maybe have an idea, but really it's okay to just have at the very core the drive to go to college. And then when you enter our arena, you're going to be introduced to many folks that will support you on your journey and just kind of provide that very safe place to take on a whole bunch of new stuff. But that's kind of it, folks. Let me put this back here. That's my contact information. I think, again, like what I mentioned in the previous slide, I think you guys did an amazing step by applying. You guys did an amazing step by joining this Next Steps program. But keep the momentum going. As questions come up, ask. Don't be afraid. And we welcome all and every question. I had this student, again, I got many stories, where they're emailing almost every day for like a week. Totally fine. That lets me know that there's a lot of questions. We get more worried when students stop asking questions because then we don't know what's on their mind. And so keep those questions coming in. We do answer it quickly because we want to make sure that you get the tools you need to make it to that next step or those ideas that you have. But thank you for the opportunity to be with you folks this morning. And those who are reviewing the video later, thanks again for listening. But I am open to questions. You can throw it in the chat or however.
Thank you, Sheldon. Yeah, we still have a few minutes here. If any of you would like to jump on the chat, please do so. Sheldon, I know that we were talking a little bit prior to the beginning of the session here. Are there any, or could you highlight any kind of online virtual experiences for high schoolers who may not, live on Oahu or are just curious of exploring more? If you have anything that in particular students can visit or check out that you might want to share.
Yes, we do have a KCC YouTube page that does provide, as best we can, a virtual lens on what it could be like on our campus. We try to make it so that people can visualize themselves through these videos on our campus. It shows students in action, again, drone shots of our campus. So what I'll try to do is maybe send that link later so that could be shared with everyone.
Awesome.
I do see a question. Do you have combat sports? That is a great one. And that is a fun question, and I keep saying, and I know you guys are tired of it, where, when things go back to normal. But our student clubs are very active. And this one neat thing that we have is field day. And so what we used to have in the past is, I don't know if they call it Nerf, but we had this archery folks come. When you're in those big balls and you do sumo wrestling, we have that. We try to make it real fun because, as you know, college is a combination of the academic stuff, but having fun as well. We have intramural sports as well. It's not like, playing for the Warriors or anything, but we compete against other community colleges. We have basketball, volleyball, I think. I don't know if they're going to try others, but nothing like karate or boxing. But we do have opportunities for students to be active, collaborate, play with other schools. And again, just kind of adding to that college experience. And so it's fun. And I think just to put this out there, so when I had that slide that talked about student clubs, if you don't see stuff that you like, you can start your own. It just would require a certain amount of students, finding a what we call a faculty advisor to help manage it. And then who knows, maybe you could start a karate club and then go from there. So really, you're only kind of limited to your creativity. And so I think if you don't see stuff that our campus is providing, start one and then see where it goes. That's a great question.
Awesome.
Number one club back in the day was our anime/video gaming club. So what they used to do is reserve one of our classrooms. I forget, it was on a Friday. I don't know how often, but they would reserve a room for the whole day. So students would come in and out. In fact, so the club would bring their consoles in. We would have these monitors running, and they would come in and out. They'd play their video games, go to class, play video games, go to class. They would bring in food. It was such this wonderful thing where folks could just let their guard down just a little bit, hang out, play games. Again, these are all like-minded folks, and it was really great. And so I think when things come back, hopefully that club will continue on.
Okay. All right. So we'll just give a last call out here for some questions. And while we do, Sheldon, just maybe one more. Prioritizing what's important for them. What if someone is looking to change their mind or change programs, and they're kind of in between? What might be some clear first steps that a student might take?
That's a great one. And so for students who are thinking about other options as far as their college journey goes, is to talk to someone. It could be their teacher, it could be the counselors that are on staff, but reach out to someone. We're all networked in a way where we'll place students, or we'll direct students to the most appropriate resource. I would say talk to someone so that we can have a conversation with you on what would be the next best steps. A lot of times having that conversation could lead to a whole bunch of other things. But I think the most important thing is to reach out. So on that note, students change their mind, I would say like 3 to 4 times. And so changing your mind, changing your career path is very, very common. And so don't feel like having just one idea is a good or bad thing. Have many of them and then kind of share it out. Do you have study spaces for online classes? Yes, we do. And so that picture that I showed you of our library, and so even though for fall, most of our classes will more than likely be online, you're free to use our library. And in fact, your UH username and password gives you access to all the Wi-Fi signals at all the campuses. So let's say you wanted to study at UH Manoa, you're free to do so. When you see that signal come down, that Wi-Fi signal come down, you just log in with your UH username and password and you're good to go. So again, same with our library. So even if, let's say all your classes are online, that is not preventing you from using our library to study. And so you're free to do so. We have spots all on our campus. This will look more familiar when you're on our campus, but above subways is our first year center. And so that too is another place where you can study. Again, use our Wi-Fi. And so if at home, let's say you have your Wi-Fi signal is not as strong, please come to our campus. Parking is free. And you can use, again, our library, whatever space that has a strong signal to do your studies. I know there's a set of picnic benches near our science building called Kokio, where students have studied before. So if studying in the outdoors is a thing, you can do that as well. So great question about online classes and study spaces.
Okay, if there's nothing else, we want to thank Sheldon for presenting. We want to thank all of you for joining our session here today. As a reminder, you're going to be receiving an email with the session recording. So be on the lookout for those. And have a good day, everyone. Thank you so much.
Yeah, see you on our campus soon.